The information that will be shared in this video, it's my understanding, my practice, but more important, my experience. So don't take anything that is going to be said here as the absolute truth. If you resonate with anything that is being said, you can put it into practice and let your experience determine the validity of what is being shared here. Having said that, enjoy this video. Hello, welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it meditation or meditator. Meditation or meditator. Well, the reason why inspiration expressing through this instrument wanted to talk about it is because for many years, I'm talking back in 1989, when I started the search, the spiritual journey, the thing that introduced me to it was meditation. And I spent pretty much years and years practicing meditation. And it was wonderful, it's just part of the journey. But with time, what I was noticing is that I would feel fine, or seems that I did when I was with my eyes closed and just being in that space. But when I would get out of the meditation, it seemed as though not much have changed. I'm still dealing with all the issues and everything that you can possibly imagine. And what finally was happening is that the meditation was a practice, you see, a mind practice that I would use to either attempt to control the thoughts, but with time I realized that they cannot be controlled. They keep showing up. They keep appearing. And of course, I also had a lot of different ideas of what meditation would bring to me. I don't know, waking up. I don't know if the term enlightenment applied to me, but I guess in some cases, some may suggest that meditation will lead to enlightenment and all that kind of stuff, which is another idea that the mind creates to make believe there's a place to go to or a future experience that I will eventually have. But all of that, to me, was not bringing the peace that I really wanted to experience. Because I feel that in the end, what we want to experience is inner peace. And meditation was a practice that would seem to give me some of that for a little bit during the meditation, but then after the practice of the meditation, I was still experiencing again all the tribulations of the worldly experience. Then, as I was introduced to non-duality, a shift, something started to happen. Non-duality was not so much about a practice that the individual would do. It's more about the recognition that there is no individual, that what I am, it's ever-present experience. Not an experience for the individual. It's just simply life itself. And what I was doing with meditation without realizing, with formal meditation, is that I was identified with an individual who's making a practice, which in this case was meditation. So technically speaking, I was identified with a meditator See, now there's an individual, there's a me, who's practicing meditation in order to, I don't know, control the mind, control the thoughts, create whatever I thought I wanted. But all of that was just creating the sense of a person that is doing a practice. Meditation to me is not a practice or something I do in order to have a particular experience. Meditation to me is mostly about noticing when I am identified with the thoughts, you see? So it's kind of like a 24/7, well, not 24/7, because when I'm in deep sleep, then all of this stuff disappears. There's no mind, there's nothing, right? But during the waking state, when I see myself identified with the thoughts, and I can realize, okay, it's just a thought, see? That to me is meditation. So I'm not identified with the sense of self. I'm not trying to be something. I'm just noticing that if I'm identified with the mind, I can remember that nothing means anything. I just see it as it is, just a passing thought that means nothing. And paradoxically, that would that brought me the inner peace that I was chasing my whole life through this practice called meditation. So I no longer sit down and meditate formally like I used to for many years. My meditation is ever-present experience, observing if I am identified with the thoughts or if I'm not. If I'm not identified with the thoughts, I'm at peace. Everything is fine. But if I am identified with the thoughts, then I find myself reacting to whatever the thought process may be. If it's a thought process of fear, I react to that. If it's a thought process of pleasure, I find myself reacting to that as well. I'm just like hooked to it, you see? What we're doing here is not trying to control the mind or trying to feel in a particular way. It's just recognizing that I am. At all times I am. In spite of the thoughts, in spite of the circumstances, in spite of anything. And that's how one can live in what is referred to as the peace that passes all understanding. Then life unfolds. I don't know what's going to happen with this character, with this instrument, with this me, quote unquote. All I know that words are coming through, you see, and as I move through life, I see how the bodies move to do or not to do. I see how thoughts appear and disappear. I see how circumstances seems to take place. I see how life unfolds. But what I am is life. And being conscious of that is what I refer to as meditation. And it's not a me who's conscious of life, see? And it's not a me that is doing anything. It's just life itself. And that's why there is no meditator. Because there is no me who would be the one practicing the meditation. See? So even though you may say, yeah, but you're saying that you're not identified with the thoughts, isn't that a person who's not identified with thoughts? No, this is where the language is limiting. You see? Because there's no one, there's no me, there's nothing. All that there is what is. And this cannot be trapped with the mind because the mind is the obstacle itself. The mind is a thought. The mind is not even real. We don't have a mind. There's no such thing as mind. It's just a language that we use for the sake of attempting to express ourselves or to communicate. But in the end, There's no mind, there's no me, there's no thoughts, there's nothing. All that there is what is. And that is the obvious, it's the most obvious thing, if you want to use that word. Because right now, if I ask you, right this moment, if I ask you, don't identify with any thoughts. I didn't say the thoughts will not be there. I'm simply asking, do not identify with any thoughts. Just let them be. Just let them be. Don't identify with any thoughts. What is left? And I'm not looking for an answer. You see? Because if you say, I don't know what is left, peace, tranquility, spaciousness. No, that is still the mind trying to describe. You see? The question is pointing to the fact that all that there is what is. Now, if you don't identify with the thought, with the thoughts process, with the thinking mind, if you don't identify with that, certainly the consequence is just what is. And that is what you are always. You're always that isness. When you're identified with a thought, the isness is overshadowed by that thought, and the first thought that it's overshadowing the isness is the thought, I am this individual. And now, parting from that thought, I am an individual, is where we begin to label the individual, in this case, as the meditator. But if there's no individual, there could be no meditator. And if there's no meditator, there could be no meditation. So technically speaking, there's not even a need for anything. However, while it appears as if there's a me who's having an experience, there's a way of living in the world that is not of it. That's what is meant by living in the world, but not of the world. Right now, let's put it into practice to see that this is not esoteric or theoretical. This is pure experiencing right now, just right now. Do not identify with any thought. Let them be, that's fine, but just don't identify with any of them. You see? This is the invitation always, you see, it's very simple. And life unfolds as it will, because it's doing it anyway. You see? And now when you find yourself identified with a thought, and in that moment you go, okay, wait, I am. In that recognition, at least according to this particular video, that's meditation. And life is a meditation. And there's no meditator. It's just what is. Right now, pure experiencing, this is all there is. You see? This is it. There's nothing new to this. This is what is. This is what we've been searching our whole life, but we could not experience because we're trying to do it through the mind. And the mind is the one that creates all sorts of different things to do in order to be. But you are, I am, life is, and this is it. It's very simple. And life unfolds as it will. I don't know how it will unfold for this character or for this image. It doesn't matter. It's just unfolding. But it can live in peace when there's no identification with the content of the mind. And I will be saying this sporadically just to remember that you will not choose not to identify with thoughts because I'm saying this or I'm telling this. That will happen through you if it's supposed to happen through you, because you're not the doer, you're not in charge. And if I've never seen any of these videos before, I suggest you watch the one, it's called Do We Have Free Will? I have the link on the description. It's a good video to always watch just in case. So in the end, you will identify or not with thoughts if life wants that to happen through you. But if life is leading you to listen to this information, it could be said that through you, life is beginning to recognize itself as life. And that's it. End of story. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it served. And as I always say, may the peace permeate the mind, or may peace permeate the mind so that love can be extended.